This is Oliver Giles coming to you from a garage in the dark. If you're wondering why, it's because, well, at my house the power's out. You see, I'm Jewish, and on Christmas, Jews tend to go out to the movies and eat Chinese food. Well, at some point in time during my movie watching and food consumption, the power in my house went out. So when I got back, I had no power. So I decided, let's go to the garage and film this episode anyway, via phone flashlight and no power. Anyway, this is my little, mini review on video game movies and why they normally suck. Roll the title card. Hello and welcome back. Super Mario Bros., Assassin's Creed, Mortal Kombat, Far Cry, Tomb Raider, Need for Speed, Doom, Hitman, and Ratchet & Clank. What do all those titles have in common? Well, they're all video game titles, obviously, but they're also all really bad movies, because apparently, since they're so popular as games that you can play, we want to make them into movies that you can't play, that you have to watch. Now, if you live in England, because apparently England doesn't really rely on the system as much as the US does, in the US there's something called Rotten Tomatoes, which is basically the official film rating system in the US. I'm going to be reading off the film ratings attached to those terrible movies made out of the video games. So we have Super Mario Bros. 1992, 15%. Assassin's Creed 2016, 17%. Mortal Kombat 1995, 38%. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, aka Mortal Kombat 2, 1997, 3%. Far Cry, 12%. Tomb Raider, the first one was called Lara Croft Tomb Raider, 2001, 20%. This is Lara Croft Tomb Raider Cradle of Life, 2003, 25%. Tomb Raider 2015, 51%. Need for Speed 2014, 23%. Doom 2005, 19%. Hitman, just called Hitman, from 2007, 15%. Hitman Agent 47 from 2015, 9%. Ratchet & Clank 2016, 19%. Only one of those ratings even broke past the halfway point of 50%. That's really bad. And for a consistency of a genre, it just says that all video game movies are crap. Now, I know that movies like Mortal Kombat 2, Ratchet & Clank eventually, and the Hitman films do have cult followings, but that doesn't mean they're any good. Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 have a cult following because they're over-the-top 90s cheesy action movies. And hell, they're even a lot more. These are chose the biggest heavy-hitting names from the video game industry to put on this list. So games like Resident Evil, which are movies, agreed, will not be on this list because those films took the Resident Evil world and environment and made it their own. They loosely based off the game story, but did things with the characters that wouldn't have been done before. So they do not follow the games. The same reason that the Pokemon titles aren't on here, because yes, those involve Pokemon, both the games, card games, TV shows, and movies do share the same characters from the games. However, the TV shows and movies talk about them and use them in completely different ways than you would in the game, and they're not controlling your protagonist. So those will not be on this list. Also, movies that are in a video game, such as Ready Player One and the 2017 reboot of Jumanji, will also not be on this list. Just because those are not based on video games, just happen to take place in that setting. Same goes for Wreck-It Ralph and Wreck-It Ralph 2, which is internet stuff. Anyway, point being, let me talk about, there's one film director who has been shitting out movie titles like crazy over the last just over a decade, and that is Uwe Boll, or Uwe Boll, this idiot who keeps making stuff that no one wants. He has directed, get ready for this, Blood Rain, Alone in the Dark, Postal, House of Dead, and Far Cry. Some of the worst video game movies of all time. And if you guys want to see an actual list of this, go to Wikipedia. They actually have a list of all video game movies of all time. So yeah, one director, and he also directed a bunch of movies called Rampage, not to be confused with the Rampage movie that came out in 2018. That's a different Rampage. That was actually based on a video game, which is also not really, because it's a different storyline. That took a game that had no story, made like a story game. So, story movies. That also doesn't really count. But we're not done. We never learned our lesson. I'll get into what the lesson is in a little bit, but here's some. Thank you, ambulance sirens outside the window. Anyway, here are some upcoming video game movies. Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu, 2019. Now that is actually loosely based on the video game of the same name, Detective Pikachu, for the 3DS. Now, I will be seeing this on opening day because it has Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu. Everyone in the world must see this movie. It's Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu. What is there not to love here? Okay, moving on. We got Need for Speed Takedown. So the first Need for Speed movie is kind of a less violent version of, I would say, Fast and Furious has never really been hugely violent against people, more against explosions. However, some people have died in that film franchise. But Need for Speed is basically a little bit of a less, I guess, adulty version of, a bit of a less R-rated, not really R-rated, sorry, they're not R-rated, but like less violent version of the Fast and Furious franchise, which I hope that movie franchise stays dead. It's been played out for years. But yeah, Need for Speed, they're bringing it back. Now, there are rumors of Riley Carter's stunt driver Tanner Faust portraying the main character this time. He was also one of the hosts on Top Gear USA until 2016 when the show got canceled, which I had no hard feelings against that show. I actually enjoyed it. His portrayal as Top Gear host was actually really, really cool. He also made one appearance on Top Gear UK, teaching James May how to do rally racing. Back before that series got switched over to a new cast as well, after Jeremy Clarkson punched the producer in the face. Fun. Anyway, moving on from Need for Speed Takedown, which I'll actually go see, we have Sonic the Hedgehog. That's coming out at the end of 2019. And so, sirens. There have been several Sonic the Hedgehog films. Most of them have been animated, like 2D animation, like kind of like the TV shows were. And there have been a lot of TV shows. I definitely remember Sonic Underground and Sonic X being shows I watched as a kid. Sonic Underground is a music one. Anyway, point being, it'll be interesting as long as they didn't, like, remember Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, aka Sonic 06, aka one of the worst games ever created, and definitely the worst Sonic game ever made. Now that was basically a movie as a game. This is a game as a movie. Now we have the Angry Birds movie too, because the first piece of shit definitely needed a sequel, right? I mean, this mobile game needs a sequel in a movie, absolutely. More voices outside. Sorry about that. We also got Mario Bros. 2020. I'm calling it that because it's a Mario movie. We know that, but there's no real title. This is an international film release that will be also being released in the U.S. It's not developed by any U.S. company. I'm pretty sure it's Canadian actually, so we'll see what we get out of that one. It's a Mario Bros. Movie, so no high hopes there. The Minecraft movie. Because why the fuck not? I mean, that's TBA to be announced. Same with the Monster Hunter movie. That's also coming out at some point. Again, TBA, we don't know when. Now, why don't these game to movie adaptations work? I'm going to go down the list and talk about why they didn't work, but just in general, why don't they work? Well, because as a game, you control the character, and even if it's forcing you towards one set story with one set ending, you always feel like you have control over how you get there. Now, not all games are good. I've played my fair share of bad games: Stuntman Ignition, Race the Sun, Hotel Mario. Just bad games. I mean, although we're never going to get a Race the Sun movie. Although they probably actually do something really clever with that. But we're never going to get a movie out of Paper.io or Agario or anything like that. Let's hope we don't. But yeah, that's the point. Bad games can be bad. However, you still get the feeling that you are controlling the character. And then also people say, okay, why is it different than watching, a YouTuber play the game? Well, because normally they're commentating and tell you what they're doing. And even if they're not, you can still see what the choices could have been. In a movie, they say, okay, this is the way this works. And now you're watching a bland, lifeless portrayal of a character who you don't really know. The personality is completely different from the game. Also doesn't even look like anything like from the game at all. Portray what you would be doing or what you wouldn't be doing if they take a different choice than you. Like, imagine Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? Multiple different names, multiple different choice paths. Imagine that as a movie. Now, which character do you adapt? Cassandra's the most popular, so I'll probably go with Cassandra. Now, she has so many different choices to make, more than Alexius actually, over the entirety of the game. With such a huge, vast open world, they wouldn't be able to adapt it properly. So, if they wanted to show all the storylines, they'd have to either use flashback memory sequences, which everyone loves, right? No. Or they have to release separate movies, which they're not going to do. So a game like that with multiple endings and a huge open world with a vast amount of characters would never work, because you want to feel like you're in control of the character. That's why they don't work. Also doesn't help that these films are normally boosted by huge star power and then completely fall flat. Star power, get it? Mario, game joke, it's funny. But no, seriously though, they have like a lot of like huge star actors in them. And then normally fall flat because these star actors don't know what the hell the game is, and most of these people have never actually played the game. And I get the feeling with certain movies like Ratchet and Clank, they're like, oh cool, these are what the character names are, this is where a wrench is, make a movie. Because that movie is nothing like the game, and that just disappointed fans. I mean, it was okay for kids, like the really little kids who never actually played the games, the Ratchet and Clank games, either remastered originals. But for people who actually have played the games, like me, it was just a disappointing mess of a movie. Anyway, let's go through the little list and talk about individually why the games and movie adaptations failed. Now, I might be doing a review on some of these in the future. I don't know. Let's just say Super Mario Bros. It wasn't really Mario, was it? I mean, King Koopa was basically Donald Trump look-alike. The Goombas were, well, I don't know what the hell, they were just ugly, bad. All the acting was very, very poor. And also it left a scar on the reputations of literally everyone in that film. And it's a scar we prefer to forget. Moving on to Mortal Kombat. Now, Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation were just over-the-top, cheesy 90s action films from the 90s. They were just bad CGI, bad slow motion, and fighting, which is okay, fine, whatever. However, the whitewashing of the cast was not a good move. A lot, like, oh yeah, some of these people are Asian, but half the cast is white, so why? And they didn't even portray the characters properly. And also, there's a 35% drop from 38% to 3% of approval rating for the second movie. So somehow you messed up Mortal Kombat, the original, and made another one 2 years later and made it even worse. Moving on. Far Cry. Now, this movie I've not actually seen. I have seen some reviews of it. It was either CinemaSins I watched or Nostalgia Critic do it. I think it might be, I don't remember. Anyway, point being, I have seen this movie. I watched it on an airplane. I just remember this. It was not good. It was not Far Cry. It tried to be an R-rated action film, but wasn't. Had bland character motivations, and honestly, it played the Bond girl trope into a corner and said, okay, this is what you are, all the women in this movie, and we'll stay as this. Moving on. Like, it just was not good. Do not ever watch Far Cry. It was one of the Uwe Boll movies. Just terrible. Tomb Raider. Now, there have been 3 different Tomb Raider movies. So the first one, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, got 20%. That was, honestly, that was the one that had Daniel Craig in it, actually, before Daniel Craig was James Bond, which is the thing. He was actually in a lot of things before James Bond. He was in Layer Cake, Tomb Raider. There's a lot of things. But yes, he's now mostly known for playing James Bond and the dude from Logan Lucky, which is another bad movie he was in. He cannot do American accents, which is another thing that let this movie down. Also, because they gave Lara Croft a big romantic interest type thing towards the end of the movie, which does not sit well for a Tomb Raider game. Lara Croft has always been very independent as a character, never been super reliant on anyone, male or female, at all in the entire games. I mean, she has had people at friends help her, especially in top-down 2D games. But as far as giving her love interest, she's had flirtation stuff in the games, but it's just flirting. Nothing like what they did. Like Kiss of Revival crap that they did for the movie. Moving on, the sequel got 5% better in 2003. Lara Croft Cradle of Life, which just repeated the same thing, just minus the Daniel Craig. And then 2018 they rebooted it, and this one came out relatively unnoticed. I only know because it popped up on my. I was scrolling through my Xbox home screen. I was like, oh look, there's a new Tomb Raider movie on the Xbox store now. When did this happen? It was okay. It got 51%. It's not horrible. I've seen it. It's not. I think as far as video game movies go, it's probably one of the best. That's not saying it's a good movie because it's not, but it's kind of the best of the worst out here for video game movies. Now, Need for Speed, I've already talked about that one being the less violent version of Fast and Furious. It was okay. The cars are fast. The dialogue was poor and pathetic. It's basically car porn. By that I mean lots of cars, not porn to do with... Never mind. Moving on. Doom. The opening of this movie got it perfect. It set the tone perfectly. The science didn't lab. Everything was great. After about 5 minutes, it all went to shit, and the only redeeming factor was that one really cool part where it goes to the equivalent of a first-person shooter for about 5 minutes. Literally, first person, it was awesome. That part was cool, but the rest of it, you're like, I should be playing this. I should not be watching this happen. Also, the acting was bland. I mean, when you have the cast that they did, again, star power falls flat. Now, the Hitman movies. I have seen I've seen both of these. They're very bland, not all like the game. It's Hitman, they go on missions to kill, but now, one of them was just annoying, I guess. The villain's like, ooh, I've got, bulletproof skin. Right, okay, I'm pretty sure Film Theory did a thing on this a while ago. But Bulletproof, it doesn't make any sense. Just writing is bad. Most of these suffer from poor writing and bland acting. I'll put that out right now. Also, this one's the camera work is atrocious for both these films, for both Hitman movies, both for Hitman and Hitman Agent 47 for 2007 2015 respectively. Now, Ratchet and Clank. It was a kids movie, marketed towards kids. I'll give you that. But so was the original game. Although the original game did have some very funny jokes. The original game series. I mean, hell, there's a game called Up Your Arsenal, which is pretty damn funny. It's an Up Your Arse joke. It's not bad. And I love the original Ratchet and Clank games. I've actually had a chance to play them. I've never actually owned them. I've rented a few of them, and I actually have had a chance to play them, and they are quite good. They're also backwards compatible on the PlayStation Now digital ordering service, which I've actually had a chance to use. I had that on free trial. I played Ratchet and Clank. I think it was the second one. So much fun. Love those games to death. Now, I'm going to talk about the one game I missed when I was going down the list. The one that should have been the easiest to make right. Assassin's Creed. Now, this movie, if given enough thought, could have been absolutely brilliant. I mean, Assassin's Creed is a rich game series with rich characters, brilliant stories, and brilliant environments. Instead, they decided to set it mostly instead of because Assassin's Creed, you travel back via memories to the past, and loud engines outside. I apologize. We're up by a street, so yeah. Instead, in the movie, they started said, okay, now he's in prison. Now he's in a mental hospital. Now his dad's dead. Now the Animus is a gigantic torture rig. It's just dumb. Okay, the free rank segments were very, very cool. Although I didn't really get a sense that I actually knew any of the characters. Not like I knew them from the game, but I didn't connect with any of the characters. See, in a movie, I want to be able to either relate to the characters or know who they are. When running through a dark alley, I want to know exactly who is who. And if someone gets stabbed, do I feel sad or not? I just didn't get that feeling with the Assassin's Creed movie. And although, to be fair, the sets were very, very brilliant, especially towards the end of the film, and they set up for a sequel, which is coming out, I think, sometime in 2019 or 2020, I don't think anyone's really going to go see it. This film got, I think it was 17% or 15% for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes. The Assassin's Creed film got 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. I saw this, I think, on Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve 2016, and the theater was packed. I wanted to go see it again, because I was planning on doing a review on it, which never actually happened for good reasons, because I realized how bad it was. I didn't want to bother making fun of it most of the time. And the theater was empty. Just 2 days later, because the thing after the opening weekend at the box office just straight up bombed. Because now I've actually run into a few people. See, here's the thing about these movies. So it's hard to do with with Mario Bros. You can't see it, and it's impossible to see the Mario Bros. Movie if you didn't know Mario Bros. Was a video game. However, I do know some people who've seen Assassin's Creed the movie and loved it because they had no idea it was actually based off a video game series. And so with games like Assassin's Creed, which, to be fair, yeah, okay. Unless you're a gamer in this generation, you may have heard the name and never played it. Those last few generations. If you're a person, I know someone who's in their 50s who watched Assassin's Creed and loved the movie because it was fast-paced and good action, and the camera work was actually quite good. But if you're in your 50s, you've probably never heard of or played the Assassin's Creed game franchise. So yes, most of these, some of these, like Need for Speed, would just be another vapid action film if it wasn't a game. Assassin's Creed would be a good action movie with no story or no compelling characters if it wasn't a game. Most of these are already well-known titles. Mario Bros, Need for Speed really isn't. But Mario Bros, Mortal Kombat, Doom, come on. Far Cry and Tomb Raider? Those are all, even if you don't play video games, you will have heard of Mortal Kombat. You will have heard of probably Tomb Raider. They were big things in the 90s. So it's almost impossible to see those movies and not know that they were video games. Now, the 2018 Tomb Raider movie did take a different story, just using Lara Croft as a character, which I do like. It doesn't feel like I know what's happening next, I know what should happen, because, like, it's kind of like when you read a book and then see the movie, you're like, okay, I know what's going to happen now, unless they change it. And if you change it, you get pissed off, and if you do know what happens, you just get bored with it. So, point being, why do these movies fail? Because you know what's going to happen if it's based directly on the actions of the game and the characters in the game. Also, I always get the feeling watching. I've seen all these movies in this list actually. Now I realize that mostly via airplanes or Netflix, and I feel like I should be playing these, not watching these. I should be controlling these characters' movements. And also, if they don't match the character's personality to a point, at least from the game, I get really annoyed. Now I can see people taking some creative liberties as they make another Mario movie. They're not gonna have it live action set in a 3D environment with everyone but Mario like being 3D objects. At least I hope they don't. However, the Mario Bros. Movie was just basically a mess of modern day technology. Now, to be fair, a lot of these video game movies came out in late 90s to mid 2000s, where CGI was really being explored. Blood Rain, House of the Dead were basically just terrible CGI orgies and not a lot of fun to watch. But some of the visuals were impressive. They were basically vehicles for bad and good CGI alike. Which kind of makes me mad, because some of these could be rebooted. If you like redo the Assassin's Creed movie, right, and make it more like the games, do not go back to any of the game time periods, but go back to, say, ancient Rome. Use the concept of Assassin's Creed and credit it with the Assassin's Creed title, and maybe even Damien, maybe use some of the same characters. However, do not try to mimic turn by turn the game's story. That's where most of these things go wrong. Unless you're Mortal Kombat, in which case you do whatever the hell you want, you still get ticket sales somehow. Anyway, point being, these films are bad because I should be playing these, and that's not how my character works. Anyway, thank you for watching.